15-11. Out. 13-11. Game. Sinner.
Jannik settles as we welcome Josh Eagle, who's settled in courtside. Josh, conditions down there, how's the atmosphere?
Absolutely jam-packed, not a spare seat in the house here. It's such a great night, the final of a Grand Slam, men's or women's. It doesn't get any better than that. So not much wind to speak of. It's perfect conditions for what should be an absolute beauty of a match. 1v2, just a slight breeze as usual coming down where Sasha is from the Melbourne end, just going down the court, so that you get a little bit of help on serve. But when those players walked out on the court, it was Jannik Sinner who just got a little more support, but it's fairly even down here courtside.
Celebs on the court and off it. Eric Bana, the actor, of course, was in Hulk, Black Hawk Down. He was born here in Melbourne as well. He's a good mate of yours, Fitzy.
Well, that'd be a little presumptuous of me, but yeah, I do know it. That's Rebecca, his wife. Loves his tennis, does Eric Bana. Loves his AFL football possibly a little more. He's a local St Kilda supporter here in Melbourne, but a great man. Yeah, the Incredible Hulk.
Fault.
I can't help thinking with Sinner, the right-handed matchup. I know his record's great too against left-handers, but I can't help thinking that it suits his angles better and he feels more comfortable because they play right-handers more often. And he's so good from the back of the court. He stepped into his rhythm already. As Zverev will and has, Sasha will do the same.
And that is going to be a very key shot for both of them. Firstly, the forehand down the line from Sasha, but also the response from Sinner with the backhand back down the line. And that forehand from Zverev, really the key to his success tonight. Will it be in mint condition, or if he's a little meek with it, Sinner is going to pounce just like that.
Let first service.
Jez Green at the back there, the man that came on in August of last year. Sasha has been speaking about him glowingly. They used to work together for 7 years. He said after his loss against Alcaraz at Roland Garros that he felt as though physically he'd dropped off a cliff in sets 4 and 5. Got Jez back in and has worked a lot harder, but as Jez has said, a lot smarter as well. He is somebody that likes to suffer in training, but constructively, and they're using a little more data in that department.
Well, there's a difference between training hard, which you have to get a lot of respect for, but training smart. And I'm sure Jez is at the top of the tree with that. Gee, he started with good rhythm on the serve, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been in a pretty good rhythm for about 12 months.
30 love.
Which is why he's world number one.
That's such a safe comment. Yeah. You're so right.
Fault.
This is going to be interesting. Sasha has at times this tournament taken the second serve much closer to the baseline against Novak in the opening set, drop deeper. Metronomic magic in Melbourne.
That's extraordinary ball striking right from the start. Both players coming out with great intensity, especially Sinner. He is absolutely smashing the ball. And I think Zverev's actually quite enjoying the ball coming on with pace, but whether he can sustain that over 10 to 15 stroke rallies, point after point as this match goes on, time will tell. But it's a clean start from both players.
Serve out wide on the outside has been absolutely lethal for Sinner throughout this tournament, and once again, even against the strength, it's producing the goods. 2-1. These are wonderful moments, aren't they, in tennis players' career, but also for us as fans as well. That kind of little buzz after the opening sort of 10 minutes of a final where both players, Fitzy, have settled nicely.
Yeah, and it's the build-up, isn't it? You get so excited. It's human nature. Your heart rate goes up. Your senses are electrified. But when it starts, it goes back to the core product that you love. It's the tennis at the heart of it all. And to see the two best men in the world at this moment go head-to-head in a Grand Slam final, to be here, this is special. And we should never take this for granted.
Italy celebrating a very special world #1 and champion at the moment. Germany hopes.
Time.
It's been a dozen times in the Open era that the top two seeds have met here in the Australian Open men's final. The #1 seed has actually won the last 5 times, going back to Agassi's win against Kafelnikov in 2000, 12-09. Rafa got Roger 12, 16 and 19. Novak got Rafa a couple of times and Andy once. You know, you made it when you can just say the first name. It's a bit like when I say Fitzy in Australia. Everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Well, that happens to be sort of my second name, so that's about where I sit. Yeah, I agree. It's Jannik and Sasha, basically. In our tennis world, in our fraternity, we know.
One thing to keep an eye on as we go through this match is that depth on return from Sinner. Sasha is a guy with a big serve, but he does come quite far inside the baseline for his first shot after his serve. If Jannik can ping it back to the baseline, you're going to see a bit more of that, him getting rushed, trying to organize his feet.
I think you're dead right there, and I think that's where Sinner has him covered in one aspect, because he's not bothered so much by that Sinner. He's so low to the ground with those skiing legs of his. He's down so low. His center of balance is low. He handles those half volleys as well as we've ever seen, probably. I just wonder if Zverev can approach this match without feeling the pressure of winning. I don't know. Surely the first Grand Slam win is the hardest for a player of this level. Let's hope he can free his arms tonight. Gee, that's not a good choice, though, Josh, was it? It just left it wide open.
Yeah, I'm a little worried for the big German already. He's a little passive for my liking. He is hitting into the wind, so it is more challenging, and probably thought he could execute it. But the Fox, Jannik Sinner, what a fast start. He's looking ominous.
Well, that drop shot choice was at the wrong time. I mean, Sinner was already moving forward, and he had momentum to get to that ball easily.
Yeah, it's worrying when you're making poor decisions early in a match. That, for me, is the key tonight. If Zverev is to do well and go on and win, he has to hit that serve particularly well. The serve out wide, he's got to hit his location so he can get Zverev on the stretch.
Sasha, who talked to Jim Cura about the changes that he's made in his service motion with his brother Misha in terms of bringing the ball down. He said he was throwing it too high, would almost have to pause the service motion. Much more fluid these days, regularly above 70% first serves in.
Now that addition to the Zverev game has to be beneficial in the long term. The long term tonight and the long term in general. To move forward more often and be more competent with the volleys has to be the difference, as I see it, in him winning a Grand Slam.
The Fox was in the henhouse with great points, but he couldn't make a kill. Sophia, his girlfriend, looking on. Her heart rate would have dropped a bit, as will his, getting a little bit back to normal. Huge hold.
Yep. Yeah, a huge hold.
Fault. Allow 15.
Well, this is good stuff, isn't it? No other way to describe it. Just had a defensive champion like Sinner on the back foot. Just overpowered him in the end of that rally.
That's better though, Josh, isn't it?
It is a lot better, and look, I just love the way that we've seen him respond in the last couple of minutes here when he was down break points on serve for Zverev. And the great thing about it is it looks quite natural for him to push forward. But what I must say is it is incredibly physical from both players already. We're only, what, 16 minutes into it, but there's a lot of work being done from both players. The physicality is off the charts.
I think the good thing is that both players here haven't been overly taxed in recent rounds. So that augurs well for the ability to be physical for a long period of time in the final. So we all, as spectators, have that up our sleeve.
And Mark, I'm not sure what you and Fitzy think up there, but it's noticeable that Sinner is not overplaying his hand here early, trying to just break down that forehand. He's happy to get into a backhand rally, and then just occasionally, like that last one, he'll draw his backhand down the line and go into the forehand side. So not overplaying his tactics just yet.
A little Aussie grit that we saw from Alex de Minaur. Mark Webber.
Yeah. By the way, a good mate of Eric Banner.
And also manager for Oscar Piastri.
Yep.
F1 driver for McLaren.
He could drive a bit.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to meet him a few times. Actually was in the Rolex suite at Wimbledon with him this year.
Yeah.
Great guy. Loves his tennis.
Yeah. No, he's a beauty.
That's a great shot from Zverev. How hard he hit it and got it to dip. Perfectly judged.
Yes.
I always talk about the basics of hitting the ball across court to a forehand and running in like that. It's flirting with danger. But there's just a split second to make the decision about where you go with that short ball. But he has to penetrate more than he did on that occasion if he's going to use that tactic. You know, Josh, if you sit at courtside with Jannik Sinner specifically, I'm always amazed at how much spin he creates. He hits the ball incredibly hard from A to B, but the spin he gets sitting down low, you would see that really at first hand.
And my seat is free, Fitzy. I get to see this for free. But no, you're spot on. He's got short swings, but he generates incredible pace. But the spin, you're right. So that just keeps Zverev deep in the court, not allowing him to get up and attack.
Yes.
Well, he missed that one. He missed the spin there wasn't enough. But what the spin does is allow him to get his opponent off the court, outside the tram lines, more than Sasha Zverev generally can, because he's a slightly flatter hitter of the ball. He can crush it like nobody's business, but maybe that little bit of extra spin, you know, will be advantageous as this match wears on. Josh, who do you think's got the best backhand down the line out of these two? Now, I know that's...
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd probably just give Zverev... Well, no, I'm gonna say Sinner, actually, because I think he can get it there quicker and he can take time away because he's hold to the baseline. So, look, they're both right up there with the very best, of course. So that's a 50-50 for me.
Okay, fair enough. But it is an important shot, I think, in this matchup, to be able to go down the line and open the court up.
What a great tussle those two games were between these two best players on the planet. 3-2, Sinner leads.
Sinner leads 3 games to 2.
Just keep an eye on here. Sasha obviously does have diabetes 1. It's been an absolute incredible effort from the German to be able to play elite sport with diabetes 1, and for a long time he was trying to keep it kind of under wraps. Eventually decided that he needed to kind of bring it out in the open, and he's done a lot of good foundation work for diabetes 1 over the years, and he is just checking his levels right now as we're sitting here. This is going to be an extremely physical battle.
Sorry, we're going to negotiate VIP seats back. Miss Barney, Mr. Rafter, get ready to upgrade your AO experience, all thanks to
Silence.
Couple of leading men on the court and a few off it tonight as well. Liam Hemsworth looking on from the side.
That's Jackie Chan there,
Jackie Chan.
Gee
whiz. Fitzy, you were showing me some photos of you in your 50s, and that is like a doppelganger.
Oh, which one?
Liam. He's like a doppelganger.
Of who?
I swear, and they weren't even edited because you don't know how to use photo editing. So that is incredible.
Now you're getting way too carried away. So good to have Jackie here too, but I know he loves his tennis. So they're right down on the court surface, basically. What seats they are.
Yeah.
Not far from where Jannik Sinner is standing behind the baseline now. As we're looking at it, to our left. There they are.
15 love.
Again, the depth just forcing the tall man to try and organise his feet, just missing that one. That's the real big difference out here tonight, really, in terms of pace. I mean, there's a little bit more top-end speed for Sasha with the first serve. I think that's kind of negated because of the accuracy of Sinner's first serve compared to Sasha's, but the second serve considerably faster for Zverev.
Let. First service.
Having said that, just currently he's about 8k slower on his second serve than he has been in the tournament, Zverev. So whether that is a tactic that he's trying to not give Sinner pace, we'll keep an eye on. Went quicker there, toggling his speeds nicely and direction,
13,
actually,
15.
not giving him anything too predictable.
That's a heck of a second serve, because it's not easy to beat that forehand. I mean, he shortens his swing there too, Sinner, so well. He picks up the speed of the serve normally, shortens his swing and hits that down the line beautifully in most cases.
14-15.
Well, I'm not sure about you two, but I just get a good feeling here. This can turn into something pretty special.
Cain is better.
70th ace of the tournament for Sasha. Much cleaner hold than the previous one where he was under pressure with the break points. And we're at 3 games apiece, and this is a nice number. Look at that in terms of just where he is in terms of speeds. Today he's up 7Ks on his backhand, up a similar number on the forehand. And Josh, just quickly, the racket change, what has it brought?
Yeah, it's brought a lot more pace and of course angle as well. That's what he's looking for. It's a softer frame, softer composition. It's a thicker frame, 2 millimeters thicker, which doesn't sound like much, but it has made a big difference, and those numbers will help him in these big matches.
And it was interesting, Josh, that he talked in his press conference after the sort of one set against Novak about how Novak had been so supportive of him in Shanghai when he had been very down after the US Open loss to Fritz. He felt as though he wasn't winning titles. It was almost as though the gap was extending. I wonder whether it was Novak. He hasn't sort of been let us be party to those conversations, understandably, but I wonder whether it was Novak that maybe inserted the idea in his mind to go and change the racket, because it happened right after that, didn't it?
Absolutely. He called his manufacturer, the head company, and it's based out in Austria, and he literally flew back overnight and flew directly into Austria, went straight to the testing facility, spent the next 2 days just testing different frames. They were all blacked out, so he didn't know, he couldn't tell what he was testing, and they went through all the data, and hence the change. He just knew that he had to get a more powerful racket to get more help, given how hard these guys are hitting the ball.
Let. First service.
So that's actually helping his already existing strength, isn't it? Imagine if he came forward a little bit more as well.
Sinner looking to become the first Italian player in history actually to win 3 Grand Slam singles titles. Nicola Pietrangeli won a couple of Roland Garroses, and then you had Panatta also winning at RG, and then Schiavone and Panetta. So a little bit of history on the line for this man tonight.
It's
been lovely to watch the kind of progress on that serve, the different iterations that he's had in terms of the way that he's taken his racket away, longer, sometimes shorter. He's been on the platform serve. He's gone back to sliding his and moving his feet. The end product has been absolute excellence.
Cain, Sinner.
Well, disappointment as Zverev drops his head just for a moment. 7 games gone, no breaks, 4-3.
No, but I need it now. I need it now.
Dumassois up in the chair. I think that he's asking for...
Then they gave it already because I dropped 2 rackets 1 hour before the match. No, he picked up 1. I'm doing it here now.
Time.
Michel Lewandowski in the back there next to Jez Green. Damien Dumassois talking to Zverev, who said he dropped a couple of rackets off an hour before this match. He hasn't had them.
16.9.
And hasn't had them back, and of course here a change of rackets here, so this is not the kind of confusion you really want in a championship match.
No.
Correct. Thank you.
His dad there in the white cap, his brother Misha.
You generally want everything to go smoothly, don't you? You don't need a few hiccups like that. They're just small nuances, but they can make a difference. New balls here.
Look at Jannik dropping back for this second serve. As I said, Zverev's been naturally serving a little slower, so this is an interesting move.
I like the move, Mark. I like that he's able to buy time. He's able to use the wind going down the court a little bit, and that just pushes Zverev. So pushes Zverev deeper into the court, and that enables Sinner to get that first good strike in the rally. New balls, they're travelling through the court a little quicker at the moment, so I suspect he's trying to strike here, Jannik Sinner.
I can only put this down to the racket. I mean, he's got himself agitated at that changeover.
And it may be that the stringing, or the 2 rackets he's talking about would be a fraction tighter at this moment when he gets new balls, which makes sense. You want a bit more tension a bit tighter to control the new balls a bit better. And he's hit 2 balls out here. Problem.
Touch.
He's everywhere.
Well, he is.
15-40.
But this volley is not good enough. That is dangerous.
He knew what was coming, didn't he? He was on his way.
Well, Sinner was on his way. He was a step and a half towards that volley before it landed.
A little vintage Zverev to save that break point.
Gee, there's no margin for error here, is there? What a great point from Zverev there to save the first one. Anything short on that backhand, Sinner has to avoid, you would expect, on the first return. If he drops it short to the backhand, Zverev will go after his best shot.
Frequency of first serves once again astonishing for the German as he just ticks his number to 80% of first serves in.
Yes.
What a serve. Fastest second serve of the tournament for Sasha by 5 Ks, and what a time. Sinner went back, tried to buy himself time. There's nothing he can do about that. Raw heat.
And plenty of guts to go after that. That's got to be the goal from Sinner, to get the first return up high and deep to the forehand. Then he's well and truly in the point. We talked about the backhand down the line, Josh.
Yeah, that was pretty special. I mean, not just to get there, that was pretty special, but just the execution on end range. You just generate so much pace on end range. That's about a 15, 16 meter sprint, and then to execute on your open leg, phenomenal. I mean, Mark, how long can he keep landing these first serves?
It's incredible.
Down break point every time he's made a first serve, and they are enormous. That's 216 km/h serving at night.
But Josh, he does it time and time again. Like his percentage is so much higher than most of the other guys. It is incredible.
24 out of 30 first serves made by the German. But it's still not much be enough to get himself out of trouble here.
So right now it looks to me that Sinner's going to win the majority of points. Maybe a small majority from the back of the court. I'm not sure about you guys, but that's what it looks like to me. So this is where Zverev, either he continues to serve at this level, or he's going to have to come in and execute a little bit closer to the net at times. What a game here.
Going 8K quicker on the break point, Zverev.
Sinner.
But Jannik resists the firepower from the German, and he makes the first move.
He played one heck of a game, didn't he, the Italian?
Sinner leads 5 games to 3.
To be able to get that first serve back enough times to then create pressure from the back of the court. And Zverev there came in on a ball that he probably shouldn't have.
Well, the shot definitely wasn't good enough.
No.
Whether he should have come in or not is up to debate. As the German gets broken for just the second time in the opening set at this year's Australian Open. Tommy Paul, who could have potentially been up a couple of sets against Zverev, couldn't serve out the first at 6-5. Jannik has the opportunity to serve out the first set of this final. Ulysses Barrio in front next to Darren Cahill. Marco Panici at the back there, of course. Formerly they were working with Novak Djokovic. Yes, you have got to be joking.
That was ridiculous. If you've seen a better point than that in your life,
30,
well,
love.
I haven't seen. That was just simply phenomenal from both players.
170 Ks attached to that forehand from Zverev, and he was on the defense straight away. The great Pablo Picasso, who once said, good artists borrow, great artists steal. This man has stolen from Novak Djokovic. That is extraordinary.
what a 10 minutes he's had. And you're so right, Mark. We've seen Djokovic defend out of that backhand corner so much for so long. It was the best we've ever seen, but this looks similar. And the 15 love point, the half volley forehand down the line, that's the shot of the tournament for me so far.
Triple set point.
Game and first set.
And the heir to the Big Four's crown takes the opener against
6
Zverev.
games to 3.
What a conclusion to the opening set.
I tell you what, he can't drop off either, because he played a very good first set, did Sasha. No easy misses early. You don't want to dig a hole here. Josh, how is the crowd? How is the atmosphere there? And in your opinion, did they understand totally what they just saw in the last 10 minutes?
I'd like to think they did, because, I mean, it was just simply phenomenal. I mean, courtside, the ball striking is just, we know it's off the charts, and I think the crowd absolutely appreciating it.
So there was enough noise there accordingly?
Oh, yeah, it's not a spare seat in the house. It's a wonderful atmosphere here. But I'd just like to just mention Jannik Sinner, his tennis IQ, we don't talk about it a lot, but just the little subtleties. Mark was onto it a little earlier in the set, how he's standing deeper to return. Just those little subtle changes. He really thinks his way around a tennis match better than most.
Zverev's just got to do a good job on his serve, try and allow Sinner to kind of come back to him to some degree. It doesn't miss too many of those.
14, that's it.
Well, I think from Sasha's point of view, he just has to maintain his composure here, and maybe got that a little close to the throat, that smash, but he's got to keep his nose in front early in the second.
And that will help. One of the interesting stats about Sasha at the majors, of course, is just got the one win against the top 5 player out of the 13 times that he's teed up. This is the 14th time tonight here at the Australian Open. He beat Alcaraz here 12 months ago for his only top 5 win. It's kind of weird, because then you take him outside of the majors and he's got a record of 25 wins and 30 losses. He's almost even, but when it comes to best of 5, and we talk about him having a great engine, And yet here he is struggling to pick up wins against the very elite at the majors over 5 sets.
I'm trying to get my head around that because he's beaten Sinner 2 from 3 in majors. Obviously before Jannik was in the top 5.
Yeah, before Jannik was flying around the court without touching the ground and ripping forehands down the line. And again, if you take that just a little bit deeper, not quite the 10,000-foot view, but, you know, against top tenors at Grand Slams, he's 4 and 16 outside of the majors. He's a dead even 47 out and 47. Shorter format has favored him, and yet a lot of narrative around Sasha is just how fit he is.
I think my thoughts on that, as the match goes on in 5 sets, generally the aggressor tends to win the big matches. And that's something that he doesn't do as well in 5-set tennis, and he sort of gets away with it in the shorter format. But in the big matches against the top 5 or top 10 in the world, you have to step up, and that's what the greats have done. Roger, Novak, of course, and Rafa. Maybe that's something that he hasn't accomplished yet because he's not as aggressive as those other guys.
I think that was a great explanation from Josh. It was only a small little window that he didn't know everything about.
It's only small.
Hey, no one's perfect.
Yeah, pretty close
What?
though. Hey, Fitzy, pretty
Sorry?
close.
No one's perfect.
Really?
Yeah, no. Not even Josh Eagle. Well, okay. Maybe you.
Tell my wife that. Hasn't countered that serve out wide particularly effectively yet on the ad side. I thought he might enjoy that exchange more than other players. Ben doesn't return quite as well off his forehand, even though he's a lefty, you would think, but his backhand is a much simpler shot, misses a few more forehands. Sasha having the same problem. Yet to lose a point. Sinner on that ad side out wide.
Cain, Sinner.
And in fact hasn't lost a point on the juice side when he's made a first serve. Zverev has a lot of problems out here at the moment just to try and make an impact on the return. It should be mentioned, of course, that Sinner's coming off just a remarkable season. Didn't lose one match last season in straight sets. It was the 3rd best season in the Open era on a hard court after Federer's 05 and 06 seasons, the 9th best season ever. Johnny Mack, of course, leads that particular category. And just to put a final pin in that particular thought, when we're talking about measuring yourself against the very best and how good Sinner's 2024 season was, he notched up 18 top 10 wins. The only people that have done that since 1990 was Nadal in 2013, Roger in 04 and 06, Novak, a quite incredible 6 times. It is rare air that he was breathing last year.
Let second service.
Are you getting the same feeling as me, Mark?
Yeah, these are code red moments here already for Zverev at the start of the second set.
Yeah, code red. That's it. So trying to come in a little more because his normal game plan is just a fraction behind. So then you need something to go to. Missed another volley there. Boy, he's under pressure. Sinner is just like a machine at the moment.
Let. First service.
I can't believe he lost that point. The backhand down the line was good enough to set him up for what he would consider a relatively easy forehand. And he misses one. But he is looking devastatingly good here, Sinner.
Out. 15-14.
He's pressing, isn't he?
Well, yeah, and I think that was the point I was just about to make. He's having a press. This is not him playing suboptimal tennis. This is data that's being generated to Zverev by what's coming from the other end of the court.
Yep.
And you have to react to it. You can't just sit back and take it.
So you have to then walk a fine line. If you start to press and go for even more, it's a dangerous place to be.
Oh my goodness.
Gee, I thought through the air that was going long.
30.
He decelerated there, I thought, a little bit, and maybe lucky to get away with that one, Sasha. Good lob, by the way. Oh.
Got a little cramped on it. Got away with it. Fabulous tennis. I mean, the defensive skills of Sinner are just extraordinary.
Yes.
I mean, he is deadly in the middle, but he's equally deadly at times on the perimeter. It is a tough balancing act for somebody like Zverev.
Yeah, if you're sitting in the pod of Alex Zverev, the coaching pod there at the moment, your heart's in your mouth every point because he's being asked so many questions. And doing awfully well, by the way, just to stay in touch right now. Got to take your hat off to him.
Advantage, Zverev.
Didn't go over. Well played, Zverev. He is hanging on. Some desperate stuff, but he is determined. 2-1.
Zverev leads 2 against 1.
What a hold, by the way.
What a hold. And Fitzy, let's just take a look. Josh touched on it as well. The movement from Sinner in terms of what he's been looking to do. And again, you talk about the coaching pods. I've been watching Darren Cahill very carefully here. He is touching that iPad pretty often in the coaching pod, just looking for data. And look at what they've kind of come up with here. They have moved Sinner back about a couple of meters, and the difference is pretty extraordinary.
Well, he's getting into the rally. So once he's in the rally, particularly if he gets a fairly high, deep ball on the first return, he's probably favourite then to win the majority of points. Well, he is. So that's the plan.
Time.
Main colour theme here, of course, blue, but this has been a purple patch for Jannik Sinner, and Zverev doing everything just to try and keep him at bay, and it isn't going to be easy because, as you can see here, since 1973, the only player to defeat a world #1 after losing the opening set in the men's final here in Melbourne was Agassi against Sampras. It's a long road back.
Let. First service. Out.
Talk about purple patches in this match. To be fair, he's been in a purple patch since October last year when he lost in the final to Alcaraz in Beijing. He's looking for his 21st consecutive victory tonight, the Italian.
Yep. You can name a movie after him. The colour purple. It's been everywhere.
Sinner actually was experimenting a little bit with some blacked out rackets in Monaco during the off-season. I haven't had any word from anybody that he actually made any specific changes to the specifications. And why would you when you can hit arrows like that to the target?
Zverev has to be resilient here. He has to stay positive in his mind because there's a tiny bit of negative body language appearing. You know, it's in a way a bit like we saw against Alex de Minaur the other night. I mean, as wonderful a player as Alex de Minaur is, he went against Sinner in a matchup that doesn't suit him. It suits Sinner. He was just better at that style of game. And there's a little bit of that to me tonight so far. There's more firepower, that's for sure, from Sasha. But he looks a bit frustrated to me in terms of trying to play his style of game and not having success with it.
Yeah, Sinner.
No, I agree, Fitzy, and I think for Sasha Zverev, he's just got to try and keep it tight here for the next 10 or 15 minutes and just try and get to like deep in a set or possibly a tiebreaker and then chance his arm. That's his best bet at the moment, because if he just drops the shoulders and lets things go awry here, this could get quick for Jannik Sinner, I think, in this second set. But I think he's just got to keep relying on that good serve of his. He's served incredibly well, as we see one of the all-time legends of our sport, Ken Rosewall, in the front row. I wonder what he would think of the level of this tennis that he's watching.
Yeah.
15-11.
Well, I think the great Ken Rosewell would be impressed. Muscles.
Takes a lot to impress somebody that's won 4 Australian Opens, a couple of French, and a couple of US Opens.
8 Grand Slam singles titles, 11 doubles.
4 times runner-up at Wimbledon.
And didn't play in these Grand Slam events for 11 of his best years because of turning pro. 11, 44 opportunities. Incredible.
Which is why it's always difficult to get into the GOAT debate.
Correct.
15-all.
Tends to be when he serves his double is when he actually decelerates. Right, everyone talks about, well, it's safer to go a bit slower, but actually for Sasha in general, when he starts posting numbers around the 150s as he just did there, that's when the doubles come.
Should be a bit annoyed there, Jannik. Caught the frame a fraction with that one, so not a pure hit. Caused the error.
Places another first serve perfectly. His 7th ace of this final.
I just feel like the service is obviously a great part of his game, and it is keeping him in this match for me. But from the back of the court, he looks like he's just lost his mojo a fraction. He looks like he feels that he can't beat Sinner from the back of the court often enough. Maybe I'm wrong.
But he's doing what he can. And he is controlling just about his service games well enough. 3-2. You get the feeling here, Josh, at all, that he's trying to move slowly between points, try and take a little bit of air out of the match?
I feel the same way. I think that's a deliberate. What is it, 9 o'clock, the match? In an hour and 15 minutes, but it's been fast and frenetic, and it's been physical from both players. So I think that was a better game from Zverev, just to try and hang in and not sort of do any damage on the scoreboard. He's just got to try and get through a couple of more service games and give himself a chance to try and level this at 1-set-all. So hopefully he can do that. Just a tiny slight dip, I would have to say, for Jannik in that last sort of couple of games off what was an incredibly high level.
The greatest tennis event in the world, with the 2 greatest male tennis players out on court. You couldn't ask for any more than that. Look at those scenes outside. And a competitive second set brewing between these two. Sinner chasing the score, 2-3. Yeah, he's getting bossed in anything over 9 shots at the moment.
18-11.
12 points. The Italians won, just 5 for Zverev. Sorry, Josh.
Easier said than done, but I just sort of feel for Zverev, he's getting into too many long rallies. Just step up on that baseline and just try and hit a few more winners. I know that sounds easy, but of course we know it's not. But you just don't want to get into these long rallies because it's hurting him physically as well.
Well, look,
13,
the honest situation at this moment is that he's being outplayed, but his level is still high. So Sasha is not doing anything wrong here. It's just that this guy is just playing from the clouds, and maybe this is his normal level. You know, we've seen it for 12 months, haven't we? That purple patch continues, but it's normal for him. And he's just outplaying Sasha from the back of the court, particularly.
Oh. 13-15.
He's had 4 love service games in this final so far, Sinner. This won't be one of them. But it is another indication of how dominant he has been.
To the baseline and just pull that backhand down the line. Just go for it, flatten it out a little more.
I just wonder whether that ball in the middle of the court, you could see there also isn't a bad play. If he can fire one deep through the middle, try and get Jannik to push something back that he can go to work on. Just narrow the band of attack for a while before spreading the play. And that is what you're managing on the other side of the court, that massive delta between the pace of the forehand and the backhand from Sinner and the deftness of the touch.
Well, he showed some good signs at least there, didn't he? And he's been gutsy here, Sasha. He just has to stay positive, surely, in his mental approach, because if that drops off, he will be in serious trouble. So keep his head down. Hopefully, wait.
Leon Marchand, 4-time Olympic gold medalist at Paris, and what a star he was. Absolutely stunning. The whole country supporting him, embracing him. The adulation was so, so special. Of course, another Olympic gold medalist on the court in Zverev.
We did well with that volley because it wasn't an easy one.
15-11.
Can you believe how well Sinner made him play a low shot there, and he hit it pretty well. Nearly lost the point, but did about as well with it as he could. He enjoyed it. Appreciating a different sport when you're a world champion in your own. He's getting a lot of balls back, though, Sinner. He's just the pressure he's exerting here.
Let. First service.
Doesn't always post great unreturned numbers, Sasha. Very high in terms of velocity, but not always with the accuracy. But even tonight, he's losing in that department against Sinner. And losing versus his tournament average. 37% compared to 27% tonight. That one, however,
13-15.
will help on both counts. Talked a little bit in the pre-match preview about that serve being crucial to him, dropping it in short with angle.
Young.
Well, this time he doesn't quite execute the drop shot well enough. He had Zverev way behind the baseline.
40, that's it.
But he gave that too much air time. Look how far back he is, but this is not good enough. And dispatched by Zverev very well, mind you.
Feet from Zverev to get himself up inside the baseline on top of that. And he takes a 4-3 lead in the second.
Zverev leads 4 games to 3.
First couple of suboptimal shots really from Sinner. I just wonder whether he was overplaying the drop shot a little bit. Maybe he feels like he wants to get Zverev a little closer to the baseline, but that second serve return, not his finest. And is there any sense that some of the physical discomfort that he's had in this tournament so far just coming back? Some cramps against Shelton in that third set, and again here you can see just grabbing the hamstring.
I think it's from tension. As long as it's not a torn muscle. I mean, if you get a little tear there, it's a problem. But in terms of tension, there's some small cramps he gets.
I don't know how many of the over 14,000 fans that are packed in here saw what happened at the end of that last game, but that was pretty interesting. And what was also interesting was the fact that Zverev was out of his chair very quickly. Does he sense there's a little bit of physical discomfort from the Italian after that last game, and he wanted to get back onto it? Look at this. Jannik just grabbing at the left hamstring, and he has had some issues at this year's Australian Open. Are they reappearing? How wide Zverev's going to try and take this on the backhand side. As I said, he's deadly on the perimeter. It's not a bad approach shot, but not bad doesn't get it done against Sinner.
Yeah, look, I just don't think it's the right move going in against a swinging forehand. If you give a player something to run at, imagine giving Pete Sampras something to run at on that forehand and try to volley the next ball. It's a bit the same. Dangerous.
Love.
They're tough, aren't they? 5-setters against the best. The true test.
Who was with Darren Cahill a couple of days ago doing a press conference. Nice thing they do here at the Australian Open is they've really tried to promote the coaches and get them in there to talk pre-final about everything that's going on, as he just touches the 100-mile-an-hour mark with that particular forehand pretty comfortably. Simone saying that basically he feels more comfortable when Jannik is under pressure. That's when he raises his game. He said actually when he goes up a break, I almost feel at times he relaxes too much.
You'd rather be up though, wouldn't you? In the scoreline.
You and I would.
14-15.
My word.
Yeah, I don't think he was advocating that he should fall behind, but he was saying that, like, the set points against Ben, and in those moments, he says, I'm very confident, even though everyone's feeling as though this is a pressurized situation, that this man's going to deliver.
Must be a nice feeling.
Cain, Sinner.
And Simone Vagnozzi at the back there was hired after he split Jannik with Riccardo Piatti, the well-renowned Italian coach. There were a few sort of obvious comments that was he going to be good enough, a man that had worked with Cecchinato before, who had made the semi-finals of the French Open, but Darren also very high in his praise of his Italian counterpart in terms of the technical changes that he's done.
Gets away with it again. Surely that ball has to go down the line and deep if he's going to come in behind it. That left an opportunity.
Love.
That's the ball I like. He showed signs of going in there, but didn't need to.
40 love.
He's been resilient here, hasn't he? And why wouldn't you attempt to be? These opportunities, they don't come around often. Even at 40 love, he was that intense, Sinner. And just bludgeoned that last forehand.
Impressive hold of serve, given the situation from Zverev. 5-4.
Zverev leads 5 games to 4.
Ulysses just trying to get the ball kid's attention here as he hands a drink over. That will be on its way to be delivered at Sinner's chair. Just looking a little more comfortable out there at the moment, Josh, just for the time being.
Yeah, certainly is, and I think he's just settled into the grind of this match, a best of 5 set match, of course. And as I was sort of alluding to, I think he'd like to take his chances if he can get himself deep into this and possibly try and get to a tie break and take his chances there. So, yeah, I think the match is in the balance right about now, but a big sort of 10 or 15 minutes coming up here. We'll find out where he's at in about 15 minutes or so.
It's been a really fun 15 days here, but it has also been great to watch these drone shots that we have seen consistently. How good was the presentation last night for Madison Keys' triumph against Sabalenka from up above? If a picture could be a painting, that would be one. Bear Grylls here. I wonder what adventure we're about to undergo here as Sinner serves at 4-5 in the second set.
I was wondering what he might have had for dinner, personally. He eats some strange stuff, doesn't he?
Well, 15.
An odd mistake. This would be against the run play.
Love 30. In 30. 30 all.
Well, in the modern era, I wonder if it's more than previous eras, but the great players serve so well when they really need to. It's a common trait.
Thank you.
Great serving, doesn't just balance the scales from love 30, it puts him in front.
40, that's it.
And 3 right into the weakness of Zverev, that forehand.
Oh. Sinner.
The Italian pulls up alongside Zverev for a 5th time in this second set. There's always talk about money in these tournaments, but it is all about the silverware. Norman Brooks Trophy sitting there. One of these two wonderful players going to put their hands on it tonight, lift it aloft. This set could be key to who's going to do that.
Yeah, that trophy affectionately called Norm locally. As the Daphne Ackhurst Trophy in the women is affectionately called Daphne. Yeah, they're after Norm tonight.
Love. Love.
He's done mightily well, I think, to probably get himself at least to a tiebreaker here, Zverev.
Let. First service.
Interesting to watch like Sinner's group there.
14,
even though he's been down 40-love in the last couple of Zverev service games, when he's taken that point there, they are very keen to keep him engaged in trying to return, because obviously it does look as though there is a tiebreaker around the corner and they don't want him to switch off. Brutal hitting from Zverev. He's first to 6 in this second set.
Zverev leads 6 games to 5.
He seems more on a parallel from the back of the court in the last period of time, doesn't he, Sasha?
I think the conditions are helping him as well. It's just got a little cooler out here and heavier, so that's buying him just a little more time in these rallies where early on it was fast, it was frenetic, and I don't think he had a lot of time, Fitzy. So I think the conditions definitely helping him here at the moment as well, and he's not far off, but this is a must-win set, you would think, for Sasha Zverev.
They're always interested in the numbers, but not particularly at this stage. It's all about managing your emotions and who can do that best. Sinner coming out for a second time in this second set to serve to stay in it under pressure. In his previous service game down love 30, he'll be looking to make it a much more imposing start now.
Can you move the spider camera, please? Thank you. In love.
Josh, I'm not loving the deep position.
30 love.
No, it's not winning him a lot of points, is it, really? I think he can return really well anywhere he stands, so he's got great reach. I would prefer to see him try and put a bit of pressure, particularly if Sinner misses that first serve. I want to see him stand up and just maybe send a message, and you know, that's allowing Sinner to play the game style he wants to play.
Fitting.
I'm not sure if he needs to use that as much. What do you guys think? Because he's winning the majority of points from the back of the court. I know it's good to have variety and keep Zverev guessing, but he's lost the last couple.
I have a feeling he hit it then because Sasha was actually reaching for the previous shot. It was on the way down and he didn't get hold of it particularly, so he was backpedaling pretty hard, waiting for a big shot coming. I think the space was there, but a risky time to play it, of course, at 5-6.
Keys. Oh.
Both at their brilliant best. And it's the best sport in the world.
Well,
I'm not speechless, Pedge, but that deserves some airtime. Just to be left alone. How good was that?
Astonishing.
The crowd just exploded.
Please. Oh. Sinner.
Well, they might be chasing Norm, but that was anything but normal.
Six games all. Tiebreaker.
And everyone taking a breather as we arrive at a second set tiebreaker. Absolutely world class from both on that previous point.
I wonder how those last 2 points are going to affect Sasha here. He threw everything he had.
Both players have played a couple of, three tiebreakers here at the Australian Open. They have won all three. Something has to give.
Let. First service.
Some forehand down the line. I thought he had gifted back the opportunity to Sinner with a medium pace forehand.
Zverev.
Rescued the situation beautifully. And he is going to need to produce his best here, Zverev, because Sinner tends to elevate his tennis when it gets to the breakers. Lost just one tiebreaker here at the Australian Open in his career. Yet to drop a point behind his first serve in this second set. Sweet 16.
1-1.
And confirmation of just how good this man is when we get to this particular format of tennis. 15 of his last 17 breakers he has won. Losses to Echeverry in Shanghai and Alcaraz in Beijing, just the couple that he hasn't been able to take.
2-1, Zverev.
Pinpoint accuracy from the German, and that's what's needed.
Yeah, it was the depth that he maintained during the course of that rally.
To all.
Two points in a row against serve.
And 2 points off that forehand side.
Yeah, and he doesn't quite handle the depth as well as Sinner. I mean, he is a maestro, Jannik Sinner, at handling a deep ball. And Zverev having a bit of trouble with some deep ones of his own there. Mini break.
Balances the books in this second set. Tiebreaker does Zverev. Both players' forehands a little fallible. Just the first point against the first serve in this second set for Zverev, and just his fourth, incredibly, overall in the match.
And oh, how important these next 5 or 6 points are.
Four, 3, Sinner.
Unfathomable.
Ball.
No one would have guessed he'd missed a second serve there on that forehand. cruel. Cruel for Sasha Zverev. Wow. Are we going to look back on that?
5-4. Sinner.
The rub of the green, as they say, goes Sinner's way.
Such a pivotal moment. Such a huge pivot towards the Italian, and Zverev has done nothing wrong there.
Six-4. Sinner.
Well, if you're Sasha, you just have to keep believing here. Don't let it get away, because Sinner is on the verge here of really turning this match on its head.
Couple of set points.
And second set.
Precise, perfect and powerful. And that is Sinner all over. And he's all over.
7 games to 6.
2 sets to love, he leads. As we get the third set underway. Two out of the last 3 finals here in Melbourne, of course, have been this sort of situation. This is the situation that Sinner was presented with last year against Medvedev when he trailed by 2 sets to love, managed to turn it around, of course, in magnificent fashion. And then the miracle in Melbourne for Rafa against exactly the same opponent, Daniil Medvedev.
Fault. Final.
Just maybe the absence of alternatives here for Zverev will allow him to throw caution to the wind with that forehand side. That was promising.
The defensive skill out of that backhand corner is
30-15.
It's probably equivalent to, at the moment, to what we've seen from Novak over a lot of years. I hate to compare anyone with that, but I think this is that good. It's so hard to break that backhand down, and you know, you feel like you hit an offensive shot in there and it comes back with interest on it.
Fault.
Too good. That's what I'm talking about, Josh. It's an incredible shot, isn't it?
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's It's a thing of beauty, Fitzy. That's what it is. It's so pretty to watch, and the forehand, there's a little more whip, but it's the simplicity of this backhand. He just pulls it straight back and straight through to the target to where he's trying to get to. So the racket face doesn't get into too much trouble. It's vertical upon impact. It's a thing of beauty.
Does it remind you a little bit of Novak or not?
Different. No, Fitzy, no, it doesn't.
Okay, but gee, just as effective at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cain, Sinner.
Well, he's going to be hard to stop, logic says.
Yeah, he's lost a couple of times from this situation many moons ago at the US Open against Hashinov, and of course the epic against Djokovic at Wimbledon. Sinner. But he is a different player now than he was then. And he is very much at home at Melbourne Park. And when you start throwing stats like this into it, you kind of wonder where the win's going to come from. So look at this, since 1973, Sinner could become the first player tonight to claim 10 consecutive straight sets wins over ATP top 10 opponents. That's against the elite. They're not even picking up sets, let alone wins. Hasn't dropped a set against the top 10 opponents since losing that tiebreaker against Alcaraz in Beijing.
Finland.
Sasha, meantime, has come back from 2 sets to love down on 3 occasions. Carina Busta at the US Open in 2020, of course, going through to the final to take on Team, which he should have ultimately won. Oscar Otti. Roland Garros in 21, Sebastian Baez in 22, also in the French capital. But when he takes on players, even in the top 20, he's not been able to turn around this deficit. He's 0 for 11.
13-15.
Well, he's got nothing else to do tonight, I wouldn't think. Sasha, why wouldn't you hang around? If you can.
Touch. Cain, Zverev.
The bits that he's controlled since dropping the opening set, since Sinner went into another stratosphere in terms of the sort of tennis he was producing that no one on the planet could live with, he's done a good job. But yeah, again, it all centers around that forehand, doesn't it? The brittleness in the big moments. He solved the problems around the second serve that he had back in 2020 and 21, but the forehand itself just isn't quite as productive as everybody else is at this level in the big moments. He's got to hope that there is a little bit of a physical toll for Sinner, and it drops off somewhere along the line in this third set. Well, he's trying to go nuclear. He's trying to pull the pin out on the ground strokes.
30 love.
And I think it's the only way, to be honest. He's just got to hope that he can maintain the sort of unforced error count.
Well, he doesn't have the versatility to change his game right up, as Jackie Chan there looks on. And some pretty famous faces there, isn't there?
Yeah, Mark Lee, the Canadian-born rapper, Japanese singer Sana from the South Korean girl group Twice. They're both Ralph Lauren ambassadors. I'm surprised you're not actually, Fitzy.
Why do you say that? Huh?
You're so debonair. You've aged well.
It's very kind of you.
Well, you paid me to say it.
So, yes, he probably does have to go nuclear, like you say, but he's still losing the points. I mean, this style of play, the matchup with this style of play is not winning, and it looks unlikely that it will. So he doesn't have, I guess, the versatility to serve and volley a bit more, come in a bit more. Drop. I mean, he can drop shot, but not with perfect touch there on that occasion. It's a tough gig right now.
It's just too good.
Cain, Sinner.
Slices Zverev open
New
with that
ball
backhand
speed.
cross, 2-1.
Sinner leads 2-1.
And the net play is something that's absolutely crucial against the best players. I've always argued through the sort of golden generation of the Big Four, what you had to do was volley grade, because they were better from the back of the court. So the only way you could beat them was either bring them in on your terms and try and get them in at the net, or you had to go there and learn how to defend the net, because you couldn't always attack it. Because if you stay in the baseline exchanges, they were simply better.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been particularly good around the net tonight, unfortunately.
No. And it's a bit like this situation.
Yes.
But if your A-grade game is not coming forward, then you're in trouble, because you can't go to a matchup then that probably is going to win anyway. So it's a dilemma for him, and you can see the frustration. Sinner is just so good for so long here tonight.
The biggest indoor arena in Australia. A retractable roof, of course, that went under some refurbishment back in 2015. Was finished in December of 2019. They cut the time down to closing the roof from 30 minutes to 5. They changed the east and the south so that the fans could enjoy everything about this tournament in better style, and it continues to improve and be better. The innovations this year have been extraordinary, and look at that. A kaleidoscope of colours. It is always the first major, and it always brings the first headlines. We had a magnificent one last night for Madison Keys, winning her first major Zverev was hoping to follow in her footsteps and win his first maiden major. It's looking unlikely at this stage.
Look, I think he just has to remember, Sasha, that he wasn't far from winning that second set. He hung in there game after game. He got to a tiebreak situation and the luck went against him. He has to believe that he can still win this third set. And from there, who knows? But surely that's the only way to the finish line. Just keep trying to believe.
Final. (13, 15). (14, 15).
Got to keep it short and sweet. That's where he's kind of at least in the same wheelhouse as the Italian tonight.
2 games up.
Anything that goes over 9 and it's all Sinner, as it has been for Jannik tonight in terms of his serve. Best on tour in the last 52 weeks has Jannik been in terms of holding serve. And Zverev has yet to make any inroads at all, yet to even carve out a break point. And there's only been a couple of those situations in men's Grand Slam finals since 2000. Federer at Wimbledon against Philippoussis, Nadal against Kevin Anderson in 2017 in New York. And the good news keeps coming, Fitzy, for him, because Sinner is also joint best returner on tour with Alex de Minaur on a hard court.
That's not fair.
I mean, how do you become that good at both disciplines?
Mirror image that shot of match point last year in his first major win. When the pressure was on, he stepped up and hit this, one of his favourites. And he timed it about as well as this one.
14-11.
Once again, starting to roll through his service games, 5 for 5 in terms of perfect numbers for Sinner behind his phone. Look at that. He has gone nuclear. I mean, he has put an extra 17 Ks on his forehand, Sasha. And he is just still playing into a headwind. I mean, that is not sustainable. 147.
And Sinner's still defending that speed,
Sinner.
by the way.
Yeah, another clean hold. More problems
Sinner
for
leads
the
3
German
games
to
to
try
2.
and solve. I mean, the problem is he's not getting a look at too many second serves. I don't know. I mean, do you think he could crush and rush, Josh? Don't change up something?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe on that first court, not on the second. It's harder on the ad court. But we've sat here for 2 hours and 20 minutes, and neither of us, or not one of us, are even close to coming up with a plan where we can hurt Jannik Sinner. You know, it's just impossible. I don't know how you do it.
Well, I'm keeping mine secret.
Yeah.
I really can't see it.
But you know, crush and rush might be something. Try to throw the rhythm. You've got to try something different, I would imagine. But I'm just not sure that'll be sustainable either.
Well, there's Norm, as we said, Sir Norman Brooks. The trophy's named after the wizard. Watching a bit of wizardry out here with Sinner at the moment.
A replica the size of the perpetual trophy, made of pure silver. A replica, by the way, the winner keeps. You'd need a big museum in Belgrade, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's posted a picture of that museum, and it's impressive. But to be honest, Fitzy, I think it's a lot of effort to polish those trophies, and I wouldn't want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You sure are a strange guy. Is this the moment, Mark?
Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it? Sinner also becoming the first player to successfully defend his first Grand Slam title since 05 and 06. No guessing who that was. Rafael Nadal at Roland Garros. That's been probably his most productive serve.
That's worth dwelling on for a second. That's a huge serve and creates an angle with his trajectory down into the court with that long arm and 6'6" frame. It's unreturnable. His first return is so effective, isn't it, Josh? He gets it high, he gets it deep, and then he's favourite.
Yeah, he really does put great shape on it, and you can just see he's lost his contact point here on this forehand. He sometimes gets it a little too far out in front, sometimes a little too far back, and it's changing every single time he's hitting that forehand at the moment, so the confidence is starting to dwindle.
Break points. Desperate times.
30-14.
What a shot.
Cain, Sinner.
It didn't have pure sizzle, but it just had enough. And the dejection is obvious on Zverev's side of the court.
Sinner leads 4 games to 2.
We've had some great tussles for world #1 over the years with the big four. But it doesn't look as though we've got a transient world #1 right now. It looks as though Sinner is going to claim the top spot for a while. There seems a big gulf between him. We've been showing you the stats tonight. But the most important number for Sinner in this third set is that breaker serve, 4-2. And it's so important when you do something you've never done before to feel comfortable doing it. And look at this, since he's become world #1, he's going to equal Borg and Connors' record tonight if he does win in terms of the most wins in their first 50 matches as world #1.
Gee, there's some interesting stats flying up here. How do you get those, Mark? You must be a genius.
Oh, the 8 people that are feeding it to me. That makes me an absolute genius, Fitzy.
15-all.
Greg Sharko's been up with us tonight in the commentary box, done a great job for the World Feed. Thank you for your last 15 days, been brilliant.
Yeah. Thank you,
and
Shark.
everybody back in the truck. This man has been in the front office and he continues to dominate, all before him.
And now he's dragging him wide with that topspin we talked about earlier, where he can create more angle and take his opponent wider outside the tram line. And from there, Sasha's starting to drag a few down into the net. Just can't penetrate, can he?
14-15.
The defense, I mean, apart from everything else that the guy excels at, the defense is extraordinary.
I mean, this is heavy hitting, but the problem is he's 2 meters behind the baseline upon impact. And if he was 2 meters up closer to the baseline, that would be a big difference. So that's why he's finding it hard to penetrate. His depth has been very good tonight, though, I've got to say, Zverev. He's hit quality shots of great depth. But he's just got to get closer to the baseline, I feel.
Let versus. Yes.
The last desperate attempt from Zverev to deny Sinner.
Advantage, Sinner.
He's had a nice consistent team in recent times, has Zverev. You just saw Christoph Seiler there, his physio, obviously his girlfriend. He has tried to work with some of the greats of the game of the past, Bruguera, Ferrero, Lendl, trying to find the solution.
Yes. Advantage. Sinner.
Have we even talked about how well he has served tonight? I mean,
Yeah, you said it at the start, and I said he's been in the zone for the last 12 months, and he hasn't come out of it yet.
Well, every time he needs a point, he just hits a big first serve near the line. It's Pete Sampras-like. Well, maybe not, but close, I think. And that's saying something.
A huge game that takes Sinner ever closer to the handshake moment and a second Australian Open title.
Sinner leads 5 games to 2.
Sinner also become the 5th player in the Open era to win 3 consecutive hardcourt Grand Slam men's singles titles, and the first since Djokovic did it back in 2015 and 16. Roger did it, Novak a couple of times, Lendl, McEnroe back in 79, 80, 81 at the US Open. He is following in the giants of the game, but he is creating his own legacy.
Time.
Well, a little bit of a party atmosphere in the Rod Laver Arena right now, and it does feel as though we're getting ever closer to the champagne moment for Jannik Sinner. Looking to become the 8th player in the Open era to win his first 3 Grand Slam men's singles finals. Connors, Borg, Edberg, Kitten, Federer, Wawrinka, Alcaraz, and soon to join that list, surely the Italian.
30-11.
Just been a little more pliable with his mindset as well. We always talk about that, but it's not about being stubborn. You see him there just wandering in on the baseline, giving Zverev a slightly different look with his second serve position.
Oh. 40-11.
Come on!
Did everyone duck in the stadium there? Were they looking around? Josh?
We don't necessarily need that statement, do we?
Yes, we do. We love it. He's just putting on a little bit of a clinic right towards the back end of this match and just really enjoying the feeling. Look at the capabilities of this man. I'm still waiting for you guys to formulate a plan against him.
Game Zverev.
Well, it was a 40-love down point, wasn't it? So he certainly freed his shoulders up. This is the moment of truth.
Sinner leads 5 games to 3.
Jannik coming out here just in the winning business tonight. Not the perfection one, but it's been both really from the Italian. And when those two come together, it is a very, very difficult proposition.
Love 15.
That's not going to trouble Jannik Sinner.
15 on.
And he is so deceptively quick with that first step. Other movers look more explosive, I think, but he's always there. And so balanced when he gets to the pitch of the ball. Still not giving anything away, Darren.
$30-15.
Just for good measure, drops his fastest serve of the match.
I mean, let's face it, this is a serious performance, isn't it? No matter what way you look at it.
On.
There is still time for a first in this final. If Zverev can snatch this next point and bring up his first break point of the championship match.
Halt.
Fourteen, 13. Please.
Championship point. It's a second for Sinner, down under.
3 sets to love. 6-3, 7-6, 6-3.
It's a third major. And he was quite simply unstoppable.